Welcome to the My Money Questions Answered video for this week. I had an interesting situation, it's a personal one, where my husband was contacted by a tracing agency to tell him that his late father had unclaimed benefits from his retirement fund. And how do you know if this is real or not? Because there are so many scamsters out there. And of course, if people are looking for, there are legitimate tracing agencies out there, scammers can pretend, of course, to be one of them. It turned out positively that this was not a scam, and there were some unclaimed benefits. Sadly, not a massive windfall, but it was nice to get a few extra rand. But how do you know whether or not the tracing agency is legitimate? So I got some information from Fairheads, which is a benefit administration company, and they actually hire tracing agencies to look for the beneficiaries of retirement funds. The first thing, and that was probably the one that made my husband realize that this is possibly legitimate, is they knew the name of the company that his father had worked for 30 years ago. I mean, it's very difficult for a scamster to be able to access that kind of information and look legitimate. So the fact that they know the name of the company, they may even know the retirement date or the date that they passed away, or that have information about their employment. So they'd have a lot of information available to them about your relative. Of course, they may not want to give you too much information, but they will provide you with the website or contact details to be able to contact the tracing agency. So first thing you do is, if somebody calls you, you say, which company you're from, or if you get an SMS or email, go onto the website and contact the company directly to find out more about it. Also, Fairhead said, do not fill in any forms until you know that you're dealing with a legitimate tracing agency. And I think some of the warning signs are, a legitimate tracing agency will never ask you for your bank details until all the checks have been done. And also, probably the biggest warning sign, a tracing agency does not ask you to pay for the tracing. So you do not pay any upfront payments. It's actually the retirement fund that pays the tracing agency. So if somebody starts saying to you, give us your banking details, or you need to pay us this money, it is a scam. And if you are worried about it, and you're still concerned, contact the employer of the deceased fund member. If the employer is still around, speak to the HR and find out if this is legitimate or not. Another probably a really good one, and I get a lot of people saying, how do I know if there are unclaimed benefits? The Financial Sector Conduct Authority, that's the fsca.co.za website, actually has an entire section on unclaimed benefits, and it has a search engine. So you just go onto the website, you look for unclaimed benefits, and you can click on the search engine, and you can put in the ID number of your relative, and you'll be able to see if there are unclaimed benefits. And this is for private sector funds. If you are with the GEPF, for example, you would need to go through the GEPF for unclaimed benefits. I think just a little bit of a tip, we're getting a lot of these SMSs and calls, but the tracing agencies are real. There's a big drive at the moment to pay out unclaimed benefits. So in between all of this, the scamsters are, of course, on a feeding frenzy. So please make sure you know whether or not you're dealing with a legitimate company.